boxes back again for Christmas 2025. And I mentioned earlier on the undercover reporter that went out and found companies selling e-scooters that can go up to 85 kilometers an hour at a ridiculous speed. A lot of them have where they should be like 250 watt motors on them. A lot of them have 1,000 watt motors on them. So they're going at least four times the speed what's deemed to be legal. I was driving in Ballincollig recently and I saw two fully grown adults flying around on an e-scooter together off up to do their shopping in Lidl, says Dave. Two of them fully grown on an e-scooter. You couldn't make it up, particularly when you hear now that they're talking about 80 to 85 kilometer speed for use on public roads. I've long suspected that because I've seen e-scooters and I've seen e-bikes go way too fast. Some of those e-bikes are serious bits of kit. They're like motorbikes, to be quite honest with you, and silent but deadly. You may recall, actually, a conversation I had some time ago with John O'Donovan, who was actually hit by an e-scooter. John, good morning.
Morning, you. How are you?
Had you been getting off a bus at the time, or what was it, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I was getting off the number 3 bus on George's Quay, which is a one-way street. And obviously I came out from behind the bus, so I look one way down towards South Terrace, because that's where the way the traffic comes. And I just went to step out onto the road, and then all I remember is I never forget to this day the sound of the collision. I really thought I came in when it was blown to the ground. The impact was so sudden and so loud, right? And the way it just moved through my body, I really thought it was after being hit by a car or a truck. And as I picked myself up off the ground, right, I was saying to myself, this is life-changing here, and even though my legs are destroyed, I'm crippled for life, I'm in a wheelchair. All this went through my head.
Okay, talk to me about pain. Talk to me about pain.
Oh, shoot, I saw me talking. I mean, I couldn't even dress myself for ages after. No, I had a big padded jacket on me today. I say that's what saved my ribs. But I mean, I ended up with get stitches in my elbow. My knuckles were all tore. But apart from that, I had no long-term damage. Right? How I hadn't is beyond me to this day, Neil, because I was hit with such ferocity that I just don't know how I survived. Not mind being seriously injured. And I'll be honest with you. Even when I'm in town, I was telling Vivian there earlier on, when I'm in town now, I suffer constantly, and we carry this for the rest of my life, post-traumatic stress. I am not ease in my city anymore, that has been robbed from me, all because of a bloody scooter. Even when the green man comes up now, I'm checking left and right, all about 10 times.
Really?
Right? If I see one of them things coming down the thing, I nearly stiffen up. You know what I mean?
How long is it since that collision?
That's about nearly over 5 years ago.
And it's still as bad as ever when you're out and about.
Oh, it's still yeah. I just not at ease in town anymore. I'm constantly, and if I'm crossing them cycle lanes, I'm double checking because again, that's where they'd be. The idea of the cycle lane was for cyclists, not these things with a bloody motor on them, right? And I mean, they can come on you in seconds. If I just get a flicker, it might be just something passing on a lorry or something, casting a shadow. Straight away, like I stiffen up. Because it all comes back to me like in a flash.
And did you do anything about that, say, by way of maybe CBT or anything, no?
No, I just kind of tried to work through it myself, but, it's just, as I said, it's my peace in the city, has been robbed from me.
What happened as a consequence of the damage?
The guard under there confiscated the scooter, one of the guards, and he said, I don't know, am I doing the right thing or not? Because he said, I don't know the law on this. Nobody seems to know at the time. And what happened, she ended up inside in court anyway. The first time I got sick, I couldn't go to the court case. The second time, the guard was there. I wasn't. The first time I wasn't there. So what happened was...
But on the day she stopped, was she apologetic?
She was a foreigner, and she hadn't... she had no language really, Now her boyfriend came along then, and they were trying to move away, and even though I was seriously shook up, I had to remonstrate with the two of me. You're not going in where the guards have been called. No, I had to call the ambulance, I had to call the guards. Nobody stopped in the traffic or anything, which is another bizarre incident. But
even though they saw what had happened and everything?
They did, yes. Jesus Christ, a blind man would have seen it. But when they did go to court eventually, what happened was, She was in court. She pleaded guilty. I wasn't there. I didn't get a chance to give my victim impact statements of how that I've been robbed of my safety, mentally, in my own city that I grew up in, right? She was fined €200 and she got 6 months to pay it for knocking down a pedestrian on a one-way street. That was the penalty. That's all my life was almost about on the day. €200 and 6 months to pay.
Yeah.
Now,
she paid a fine, did she?
Oh, she did, yeah. But the thing is, like in Dublin, apparently the girls have confiscated over 400 in Dublin alone of these things, right? And anyone that's selling those machines only, right, that are going 80 kilometres over the 20 which they should be. When it's traced back to that store, number one, the person that bought it, they should be heavily fined. They should never be allowed to use one of these again. The store that sold it, right, should get a heavy fine. I'm talking about 10 to 20,000 euro. Because what you're doing, you're selling to an individual, putting their life in danger, something that can go at that speed, right? And also you're breaking the law by selling it, putting the general public in danger.
Okay, but they went undercover, right, and went to different shops by all accounts. Now, here's a couple of paragraphs. You can adjust the display on the e-scooter and unlock it to reach 67 kilometers, 80 kilometers, 85 kilometers. They come at the legal limit on them, but the representative of shops listed models with speeds of, say, 40 kilometers that can be unlocked with the use of an app and make them go faster, in some cases up to 85 kilometers.
And it's obviously the people that are selling them, like, because they want to make money to sell these things, right? They're a handy price. I mean, they're actually showing the individual, like even if you were me going to buy one, they're breaking the law because they're actually showing that individual, like, how to adjust, like, so therefore, they're circumventing the law and they're putting a machine on the road that's putting that person there.
Well, they're not doing it. What the article is saying is that they're showing the purchaser how to do it.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're compliant completely on this thing. They're putting that person's life in danger and the general public, and they should be fined tens of thousands and maybe put out of business. Now, I want to see those things gone off the road completely because, the amount of injuries, you never hear about this, Neil. Like, there was a specialist there and they had another station going back 1 or 2 years ago there, orthopedic surgeon. The amount of people are coming in with serious injuries on these things. Like, because if you're on a bike, you're crouched down on an army cycling bike. You've done a lot of cycling over the years and are still doing it, right? Yeah. But if you fall, either through a pothole or if you're hit by a car or whatever, standing from that vertical height, you're going to do serious damage there.
Okay, I was looking at the stats. Up to the 30th of June this year, there have been 260 reported crashes. These are just that we know of, including 2 deaths involving e-scooters. The latest death was of a rider in his 30s who was killed in a collision in August between a car and his e-scooter in Dublin. In June, an e-scooter rider aged 21 was seriously injured and later died in hospital. So these are 2 deaths and hundreds of injuries.
There was also an 80-year-old pensioner who was just coming out of the post office in some part of Dublin there going 2 years ago again, was struck by one of those things, and she died shortly after that from the shock of it, obviously at her age. So these things are lethal, they should not be allowed on the road. And why is it that every one of us that's driving, whether it be a petrol, diesel or electric car, Neil, right? We always have to have tax and insurance and everything. You have to wear seatbelts, you have to comply with the law, but you can put something on the road like this, the person's own safety is at risk, but the general public as well. And it's all legal, I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's been a lot of seizures of e-scooters, up 218% year on year. That's of the first week of this year, October. They've seized 416 e-scooters. I'm not sure what the reasoning for seizing them, whether they were involved in collisions or road traffic offences or they were doctored to go faster. But
what the girls can actually do now, they can actually stop anyone on an e-scooter now and they can check the power that's within that single unit on that day. And if they perceive, that it's locked for going over the 20 kilometres, they will seize it straight away. And the thing is, like, you should never get it back then. That's it then, like, and you should never be loading. This is why we need a license for them anyway, even though I want them gone after 1 year. But you must have a license, tax and insurance, right? Because you have an electric vehicle on the road. This is something with an electric motor as well. Yet if you have an electric car, with an electric motor, you have to pay everything, tax, insurance, license, everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
But yet you can put another machine on the road, which is called an e-scooter, and you pay nothing.
Okay, well, there's a regular enough one, right? And I don't want to get too technical about it. There's a top speed of 25 kilometers. It has a 250 watt motor. There's another one that has two 1,000 watt motors, which is 2,000 watts of power. It's got a top speed of 60 kilometers. Another one then has, it's called the Master Electric Kukirin G2. It's got a top speed of 70. And another one, a Kugu Booster electric scooter, has two 800 watt motors, that's 1,600 watts, and a top speed of 85 kilometers. Now, if you've somebody on an 85 kilometer an hour top speed e-scooter that doesn't even know the rules of the road, I mean, that's just alarming.
Well, it's crazy because obviously, like the individual that knocked me down went down a one-way street, like I mean, and she could see the traffic coming up, and she's.
But there's a cycle lane on that. I know that street. There's a cycle lane there, isn't there? George's Quay? No?
Not all the way up on that side anyway. But the thing is, look, I mean, I see them every day out in the lock. The lock is an amenity area for family and children, like, and elderly people to enjoy the sanctuary, the lock, and to be out in the fresh air and exercise. And I see the e-bikes, I see the delivery drivers, whatever, cycling on the path, whizzing along the whole lot. I was stepping off the footpath again with the crowd there when the lights changed in Singers Corner only 2 weeks ago. And this clown came along, and again, and one of these e-bikes, and went in between the crowd, nearly knocked a couple of us down. I almost caught the back of his hood. If I did, I'd have dragged them off and held them for the guards. So it's going on.
You'd be done for assault, though.
I don't care because I have so much anger over what happened that day, Neil, because I know I'm so lucky that I number one, I could have been killed, but I mean, sometimes there's worse things than dying. I could be sitting in incontinence pads, crippled and brain dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So are you constantly on alert then around our beautiful city?
Oh, completely. And I shout at them in the street and all. Never. And some people look at you as if I see a road now. But I shout at them. I roar after them. I follow them if I can. And some of them, of course, obviously speed up and you won't catch them, right?
Yeah.
But I just hate them at this stage because they could have cost me my life or gave me life-changing injuries.
Okay. All right. Thanks, John, as always.
Thank you.
John Donovan's still struggling with it, obviously, 4 years on. Monday Munchies, courtesy of ourselves in the Old Mill Confectionery. Some shout-outs for you. DDA area out in Dell Technology, working hard. Morning, Lisa. To Acme Blinds on the Old Mallow Road. Godfrey Kirby car dismantling. Could do with the treats to start the week. All of the good staff out in Woodies and Blackpool. To Brona in Striker on the Model Farm Road. Send cakes to our continuous improvement team, who just finished a big improvement project on Friday. Take a bow. Walsh's Chemist on Shanda Street. They're getting ready for Christmas, looking after all of their patients' health as well. To all the Unpost North City delivery office workers, they're up the walls doing the business with parcels and letters. Energy-wise Ireland in Holly Hill. Everybody at Ryan Civil Engineering. To the lads at Pest Attack in the Lock, they'd love the Monday Munchies. So would everybody at Rockwell, the ventilation installation workshops in Clogheen. The radiology department at the Mercy University Hospital. Sheehan's Butchers in Glanmire. Good old-fashioned butcher shop. Well done, lads. Pediatric admin team in the CUH. C-Box Group down in Brook Lodge in Glanmire, always listening. Morning to Dapper, Deneen and all of the gang. Photo Wildlife Park, MMP O'Sullivan, Cash and Carry. To 360 Security Solutions. Would love to tuck into the sweet treats. Everybody at ML Scaffolding out in Douglas on a Murnan and O'Shea site in Castle Treasure. To the hard-working kitchen staff at the NMCI College in Ringaskiddy. D&B Electrical in the Lock. Currabeg Nursery and Ovens, Murray Properties in Mayfield, loyal listeners. To Cork Plumbing Unit 2 at the Loch Business Park, and just a few more. Cork Scaffolding based out at Eli Lilly in Dundero. Dairy Gold Accounts Payable. Morning to Ailish and the gang. Little Hands Childcare at Redemption Road. LC Plastering. Would love the Old Mill Cakes, working hard as well on the Old Mallow Road. And Nano Nagle College in Farranree. We love the treats for our students and staff. And finally for now, Amari Ireland Limited on the Tremor Road. The Monday Munchies, lots of cakes, courtesy of ourselves in the Old Mill Confectionery. Text who you are and where you're working to 0868 104 106.
Get on to Prendeville now.
0818 104 106.
The Neil Prendeville Show on Red FM.
Okay, a very fast shot.